yesterday, the one game at a time approach worked to perfection.
Pitch, here it is.
Bounce into the hole, base hit. Here comes Presley. They're waving red or cold. The throw is late, and the A's have won it. Maybe just what they needed, Shooty. Maybe just what the A's needed. A walk-off against the Astros.
Today, the Athletics go for the series win before they hit the road. It's the homestand finale, A's Astros, and it starts right now. Well, we have pennant race baseball on a beautiful Sunday afternoon at the Coliseum. It's the rubber game of this three-game series. It's the Houston Astros and the Oakland A's, and you'll see today's game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Shooty Babbitt, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Well, yesterday, the A's were quiet again offensively for the first 8 innings, but boy, Shooty, in the 9th inning, we saw the old A's come aboard as they good at bats. And when it all was said and done, they scored 3 in the 9th and beat the Astros.
You know, Glenn, one of the great characteristics of this ball club that I love is that they don't waste outs, and it takes 27 to finish them off. In the 9th inning, Josh Donaldson does a tremendous job of getting this inning started with a big-time hit the other way, and Derek Norris just adds on by staying up the middle, not trying to do too much, getting a guy in position that's been very good for the A's when he's hot, and Josh Reddick drills one off the center field wall, and boy, oh boy, who better to have up than Jed Lowry, who can manipulate the ball anywhere around the field, just out of the reach of the shortstop here, and Josh Reddick is able to come in with a fantastic slide and give the A's the victory that they desperately needed.
Well, if the A's are going to win this series, they're going to have to beat Dallas Keuchel, who's a pretty good left-hander, and he's pitched very well against the A's this year.
Well, not very sexy in what he's going to throw up there, but very effective. Not going to light up the radar gun, but going to keep the ball down in the strike zone. One of the best in the American League in producing ground balls. It's going to be quite a challenge for the A's today to try to find a way to elevate the ball in the light air today, because when they do have the home run swing working, this is when the A's do most of their damage.
All right, so the big question today is, will the 9th inning walk-off yesterday carry over to today? Well, we're going to find out. It's the A's and the Astros coming up here on Comcast Sportsnet California. We'll have lineups and first pitch when we come back to the ballpark.
Sportsnet California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
Beautiful day for baseball as we're set for first pitch. It's the A's and the Astros. Now, Raiders Postgame Live is airing right now on Comcast Sportsnet Plus, which can be found on Comcast Channel 104 and 780, DirecTV Channel 698-1, and AT&T Channel 768. Now, if you can't find Comcast Sportsnet Plus, log on to csncalifornia.com or call your local cable provider. So the A's with the all-whites this afternoon, as this is the rubber game of the series between the A's and the Astros. Let's check the game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission-free boardwalk is open on the weekends. Gorgeous day, 68 degrees. And we are set to wrap up this homestand. The A's will head out on the road for a 7-game road trip starting tomorrow in Chicago. Astros lineup today: Barisnik in right, Altuve at second, Fowler in center, Carter the DH, Castro will catch. Gonzalez plays third, Singleton at first, former A Gregorio Petit at short. Alex Presley gets to start in left field.
Towing the bump for the Oakland Athletics today, big right-hand pitcher Jason Hamill. All Big Jason has to do, Glenn, is basically go out and do what he's done throughout his last 5 starts, and that's dominate. Only allow 1 run or fewer. I guess that's fair to say that he's given his team a chance to win. So we'll take that effort for him for sure.
No question. He's been pitching very well as of late. So Jake Marisnik steps in. He's in the leadoff spot today after hitting down in the order the first couple games in this series. And the first pitch of the ball game is in for a strike.
First pitch, 107.
Marisnik, 248 with a homer and 8 RBIs. So Altuve to follow, and then Fowler. A's with the walk-off win yesterday. A much, much needed victory. Swing and a miss, 1-2. A's are 6 back in the division. Angels are winning big today, so no help from the Twins this weekend for the Athletics. A couple of the heroes from yesterday. Reddick and Lowry with the big hits. Outside corner, strike 3 called, and that's how the ball game gets started. Defensively for the Athletics, Gomes, Crisp, Gentry in the outfield, Donaldson, Lowry, Perino, Fryman on the infield. Soto is your catcher. So that'll bring up Jose Altuve. League best 340 average for Altuve with 7 homers, 49 RBIs. Got to be careful with that first pitch to Altuve. He's not afraid to take a rip at it.
He'll go up top after 1 as well.
This one's sliced foul. Yeah, we've seen him hit some high pitches in this series for base hits.
Back in your day, Glenn, they would call that tomahawk.
Yes, I think they still call it that. So 1-1 to Altuve. Closing in on 200 hits. He's got 197. This one's hit towards center. Croak goes back. He was shaded a little bit to right center. So 2 away here in the first.
The A's have to be extremely happy early on watching Jason Hamill attack that rawhide like he is. When he's establishing fastball command early on, that gives him the ability to expand out of the zone. And when he does that, he can be very tough.
So here's Dexter Fowler. It has not been a good series for Dexter Fowler. He's 0 for 8. And he has not looked great in center field, unfortunately for him.
I think a little bit of that is OFA.
Could be. It's a good spot to hit. Third with Altuve in front of you, Chris Carter behind you. Overall, Fowler hitting .271. Spent quite a bit of time on the disabled list this year. Missed 40 games with that right intercostal strain.
You make a great point, though. I mean, be sandwiched in between a slugger and a hitter, man. There's a lot of runs to be driven in there.
2-2 now to Fowler. There's Chris Carter waiting. Hamel kicks, looking for a 3-up, 3-down inning. Foul back.
Well, that's how the game started yesterday, Glenn, with a fan making a pretty good catch. So
it's a good start.
Maybe that's a good omen.
Strike 3 called. So Hamel with a nice first inning, couple of strikeouts. Bottom of the first coming up. No score. So the right-handed hitting lineup for these: Chris, Gentry, Donaldson, Norris, Gomes, Lowry, Fryman, Soto, Marino.
Well, on the hill today for the Houston Astros, 26-year-old Dallas Keuchel, born and raised and still lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In his short stint in the American League, he's one of the top ground ball pitchers. So what the A's intention today is probably try to get some guys on base and break his concentration, somewhat disrupt his rhythm, and perhaps put up a crooked number or two.
Defensively behind Keuchel, Presley, Fowler, Marisnik in the outfield, Gonzalez, Petit, Altuve, Singleton on the infield. Castro's your catcher. So the first pitch to Coco Crisp is a touch outside from the 26-year-old left-hander Dallas Keuchel. Bounce to the right side. Nice hop for Altuve. So Coco is out. 1 out for Gentry. Keuchel is facing the A's for the 4th time this year, and he's pitched well in each of the first 3 starts.
Unlike Brett Overholzer, who they faced, was pretty deliberate in his delivery. Keuchel somewhat gives you a little more arms, legs, and body action to try to create a little more deception, but there's no secret. He's going to try to pound the zone and keep the ball down and make you hit the ball into the dirt.
Closing in on 180 innings pitched, so he's got a shot to get to 200 innings, which would be quite an accomplishment.
Well, what I've watched over the past 3 days, you have to be impressed with what the Astros organization is doing. The guys that don't really light up the radar gun, they've really bought into pitching and throwing strikes, and that's kind of been apparent here with the A's. Not many walks over the past couple of days. And we know that is a big part of their offense. So when you're not walking, you've got to find other ways to score runs.
You're right. A's lead the American League in walks, and they have pretty much the whole season, but just a couple in this series. So 1-2 to Gentry, Donaldson to follow. Keuchel was a 7th-round pick in 2009 by the Astros. Oh, Shooty, they may have found a keeper here in Dallas. Keuchel. There's the changeup, and Gentry swings and misses.
Time now for the Nissan keys to the game. Punish Keuchel early. You can't allow this young man to get in a rhythm and put you to sleep. And number 2, whoop on your little brother. The Houston Astros have a bright future in front of them, but right now is just not their time. The A's are the pride and joy of the American League West, and they've got to make a statement today.
A's are 11-7 against the Astros this year. 6-2 here at the Coliseum. A bit different than last year. The A's were 15-4 against the Astros last year. Inside corner strike. An interesting note on the Astros. Through 142 games last year, they were 47-95. This year, they're 62-80. That's a 15-game improvement. Fair ball. Marwin Gonzalez has it, flips it across, side retired. So both pitchers have tidy 3 up, 3 down first inning. Second inning coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Muscle their way to postseason plays with MLB.com and Bet, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay, reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Get it back for your smartphone or tablet on the APP store or visit MLB.com.
Carter, Castro, and Gonzalez against Jason Hamill, who had a couple of strikeouts in the first inning. Carter, 235, 36 home runs, 85 RBIs. 3 for 6 in the series. And this one's popped up. Fryman, a couple steps into foul territory. He has it, and that's out number 1. So Carter is retired, and that'll bring up the left-handed hitting Jason Castro.
And catching, number 15, Jason Castro.
A's are 80 and 61, and they're finishing up this homestand. They're 2 and 3 on the homestand so far. So shooting after today, just 9 home games left. 1 homestand. There's a line drive, and Castro has a 1-out single. After today, the A's have 9 home games, 11 road games, so 20 games total left.
Well, you always look so forward to playing at home because you feel that you truly have the advantage. But as you look on here, one thing that Hamill's been able to do is get his fastball in the areas that he's wanted to. When you throw a fastball down and into a left-handed hitter, it's basically his strength. And what Gonzalez is able to do here is put a pretty good swing on him there. Or Castro, should I say.
So here's Marwin Gonzalez, the switch hitter, who's playing third base today. It's fouled left side. There's the 20 games that remain after today, and 13 against the AL West. The non-AL West games are the 4 coming up in Chicago, which that series starts tomorrow. And then there's 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies on that final homestand. That's right, the Philadelphia Phillies. Don't forget about those guys.
That will look awfully strange.
Will be strange. That's a good call.
But we will see hometown's Jimmy Rollins.
Yep. Nice block by Soto.
There are a lot of people that had an appetite for Jimmy Rollins around that trade deadline. Once again, Giovanni Soto showing some of his great defensive skills. The A's were so fortunate to be able to pick up a guy with his type of skill set at the time that they did. At one time was a strength for the A's with all the injuries, and Derek Norris catching back-to-back games, day games after day games, night game after day games. Soto was great for this club right now.
1-1 to Gonzalez. Line drive into the glove of Lowry, flips back to first, but not in time. So that's out number 2. Expo is brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort.
Nothing like having the guy there that you feel so comfortable with. Balls seem to be atom balls when Lowry's at shortstop right now. That ball's hit on the button. Good to see him healthy at shortstop for the A's.
So 2 outs here is the big first baseman John Singleton. Singleton with a home run here on Friday night. He's got 13 on the year, 42 RBIs. He's done that damage in 80 games. So you see the power. No doubt that it's there. He's also struck out 113 times in 273 at bats.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, you know, Singleton is one of the young kids at the Astros somewhat went against the grain as far as how they handled his contract situation, buying him out of his arbitration years prior to him getting to the major league level. Betting on the come, this guy has been a real good player in the minor leagues, has hit with a lot of power, and they're expecting him to do the same thing in the middle of the order here for the Astros.
Yeah, controversial deal. Obviously, the agents didn't like it. John Singleton must have liked it. The Astros were fine with it.
I wish they'd have gave me a contract on potential.
5-year deal, and what a surprise, huh? Yeah. As soon as he signed it, he got called up. Makes perfect sense. 5-year contract. This one is popped up. See Donaldson and Lowry coming together, and Lowry makes the catch. Side retired hit and runner left. Bottom of the second coming up. It'll be Norris, Gomes, and Lowry. No score. On Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Prism. Now your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. No score, bottom of the second inning. Rubber game of the series. Final matchup of the year between the A's and the Astros.
Leading off the bottom of the second inning for the Athletics. Batting in the fourth position.
Astros second year in the American League West. Such an uproar when they got moved to the American League West. Oh my gosh. And then it just becomes the norm.
Well, I don't know.
People get so worked up about it, and after a couple months, they're in the West.
Yeah,
it just becomes normal, right?
No, I don't think it's a normal flight from Houston, Texas to Seattle, Washington.
Well, that's true.
I think that's the gripe that they had, but welcome to the Mariner world.
Yeah, they're used to the traveling in the central divisions in both the American League and the National League, and the East, which travels significantly easier than it is for the Western Division teams, as Norris is retired on the ground out. So 3 ground ball outs so far for Dallas Keuchel. That's his thing. 3 out of the 4 outs.
Left fielder, number 15.
Well, when you watch Keuchel, he just teases you so much with hittable pitches, but the whole idea of it is to give you something that's appetizing but sours on your stomach. And you've heard a lot of soft contact thus far early on, and when you buy into what he's offering, normally you come up on the short end of the stick. So that's why it's so important for the A's to really come through in what they try to do offensively. It's wear guys down.
Here's Johnny Gomes. Gomes on the ground to Gonzalez. And that's out number 2. They didn't listen to you, Shooty.
Well, when you're not walking, you got to do some hitting. And it's quite apparent, by the way, that they've been attacking the A's hitters. They're not going to walk them. They're going to make them hit their way on. The problem is that they're not giving them a whole lot of quality pitches to hit. So it'll be interesting to see how this game unfolds, because you've got 2 guys with a pitcher who has a great plan and you have an offense that has a plan, but someone's going to have to make an adjustment.
So here's Lowry. And Lowry takes a first pitch strike. There's the ground ball percentage for Dallas Keuchel. So think about that. 63% of his outs are ground ball outs.
Well, you look at that guy at the bottom of the list up in Seattle, he's pretty good. And for him to be in that class, Kuma, that's pretty good.
So 1-2 the counts. Sonny Gray, who's going to pitch tomorrow in Chicago, taking on the White Sox. And Keuchel always around the plate. He works quickly as well. He's right back on the rubber. He's felt like guys who do that probably got a pretty good idea what they want to throw. He grabs that one on a nice play. Flips to first. Side retired. 3 ground ball outs for Dallas Keuchel. And we're on to the third. No score between the A's and the Astros.
If you aren't an A's season ticket holder, you can still get 2014 postseason right. Just place a deposit on a 2015 A's ticket plan and secure your place in line for 2014 postseason tickets. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or go to athletics.com/deposit.
First pitch swinging is Gregorio Petit. It's a high pop-up foul into the seat. Saw a note just a little while ago, right before the game started, where the American League wild card game is going to be played on the Tuesday right after the season. The National League wild card game will be played on the Wednesday. I hadn't seen much of a postseason schedule, but I just did see that note.
Well, Glenn,
there you go.
You know, I'm not the sharpest guy when it gets to figuring all that stuff out, but we are going to play 162 games, 7-8 months out of the year, and we're going to be in a hurry to play one more game for the playoffs. Why not 2 out of 3, man?
Yeah, I think you're right. Perino cannot quite get it. Heck of an effort by Andy Perino.
Well, Glenn, on the first foul ball, one thing that I noticed with Nate Fryman, that ball was about 15 feet into the stands, and he was still running over there perhaps if he had a chance. Andy Perino goes a long way. Whenever second baseman runs into the bullpen after a foul ball and has a chance, that lets you know that he's ranging way out of the norm of most second basemen there. So That's going to be big because Big Nate's having a tough time over there. We know how difficult it can be here during the day at the Oakland Coliseum.
Perino Pirana. We like it. But speaking of that wild card game or games, and we asked Bud Selig about that, and he said he really wished that they could play that first round best of 3, but it pushes the postseason back too far. That's what he said. We got it right from the main man.
I know what it sounds like, but I just think it's so unfair, man. These guys go through so much to get in. I mean, anything can happen in one game.
Well, and you know what? And you're right. But kind of leads you to the thing of, well, then win the division. But you know, and that's, you know, easy to say, hey, in this case, either the A's or the Angels are going to win the division, and there's going to be a very good team that's going to be a wild card. I think that's the argument on the other side is, well, then you got to win your division, and if you don't win your division and you're a wild card, then you got to work extra hard to get where you want to get to.
You make a
you know, again, it's just the other side of the argument. I'm not saying I disagree with you, because I don't. I think it should be 2 out of 3, but it sounds like that would really push the postseason back a long ways. Maybe not a long ways, but a couple days. Johnny Gomes fighting that one, but he hangs in there in left center field to make the catch.
Talking about home field advantage, I mean, this is one that I think is probably as huge as any. I mean, this ball drops out of the sky at you like it was never there all of a sudden, and Johnny Gomes does a great job of not putting his face in front of the glove, because there is a point where you do lose the glove, but because of the angle in which you position your glove, that allows you to track the ball a little easier at the end of his flight.
So here's Alex Presley. Presley hitting in the 9th spot, playing left field today. So Robbie Grossman is kind of the regular who's getting the day off today.
Glenn, you've been to Arizona spring training many years, and you know how difficult that sun is down in spring training. When I was a part of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Dwayne Murphy was the outfield coach, and we know he was a 6-time Gold Glover here, and it was so apparent of how much better our club was prepared opposed to the guys that we played against, because his ability to be able to teach the way to catch it properly and to block the sun out there, it's amazing the guys that do it better than the others, because if you've ever been on the other end of one of those, man, it is one of the most vulnerable and scary fields in the world.
He could block the sun out, and he would probably do it with a little bit of flair. But you're right, I mean, it's scary for these guys.
Once again, we've watched some pretty close calls in this series, and the umpires have gotten them right each time. It's amazing what that instant replay does for you.
2-2 to Presley. And this one's popped up right behind us. So if you're at home shooting, whether you're a youngster who's a baseball fan or even a dad listening, just go outside, take your glove and a ball, and just face the sun and just throw the ball up in the air 10-15 feet. That's difficult to do. And practice blocking the sun.
You are so right. Just 10 feet.
Try it.
It's a helpless feeling.
Presley strikes out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Jason Hamill. Weston wild card. The standings look like that. A's 6 back of the Angels, and then that wild card, the A's are the #1 wild card, 2 ahead of the Mariners. Tigers are a game and a half back of Seattle for the 2nd wild card. So that is up to date. Indians are on that page, and the Indians are the only team on that page that have a final score. They won today 2-0 over the White Sox. So keeping an eye on the Angels, keeping an eye on the Tigers, keeping an eye on the Mariners. That's the way it's going to be. The Angels are winning right now 14-3 over the Twins in the 7th inning. So they're going for the sweep, and it looks like they're going to get it. So the Angels are not slowing down, folks. Nothing you can do about it. The Mariners are scoreless, I should say, in the 6th inning down in Texas. Rangers and the Mariners. Mariners won last night. And that one spins Marisnik out of the way.
Well, a lot of times that fastball's intent is basically to kind of straighten that hitter up a little bit, so possibly I can attack you a different way, maybe with a slider out of the zone.
There was a slider. 1-2 the count.
And that used to be a norm for a hitter, knowing in an 0-2 count, pitcher's going to do everything that he possibly could to get me uncomfortable, get me thinking about that fastball that he just threw up in there, and possibly my knees might buckle and I might not be able to keep my shoulder in on that breaking ball.
There's a line drive right center field base hit, and that's going to roll to the wall. Marisnik can run, and he's going to get to second. He's going to stop there with a 2-out double.
When you look at that pitch, same location, different type pitch. Marisnik staying on the fastball, able to serve it over to the right field side, keeps his head down on the baseball. Even though he's out a little front there, he's still able to keep his hands back a little bit and drive the ball into the right center gap. That ball's hit pretty hard because Coco normally does a pretty good job of cutting balls off and keeping them from getting in the gap, but that one had some top spin on it and got there in a hurry.
So now you face the tough Jose Altuve. Altuve is 3 for 9 in this series. He hit a fly ball to center field in the 1st inning. Bounces that one to Lowry, who charges, throws on the run in time, side retired. Runner stranded at second base. Bottom of the 3rd coming up. Fryman, Soto, and Perino set to hit for the A's. Sports at California is brought to you by California Earthquake Authority. Protect your home with earthquake insurance. Learn more at CaliforniaRocks.com. Oh, you can't beat a corn dog.
That's a good looking corn dog.
Yeah, that's the corn dogs and the ballpark poppers. Very popular item here at the Coliseum this year. A new item and very popular.
They use a popper from big Nate Fryman right now.
A couple of ballpark popper stands here at the Coliseum. Petit has it, and he throws out Fryman. So 1 out. He's playing without Stephen Vogt, and this was the injury on Wednesday. And if you see on the slide, he turns his ankle. And his left ankle, and it turns out he's pretty banged up to the point where it's in a walking boot right now. And he is not going to make the trip to Chicago with the team. And he said it's painful.
Well, so many times we see athletes get hurt on the field, and you're not sure if they're hurt or not. They'll leave anyway. When Stephen Vogt leaves the field because of an injury, you know he's hurt. He's as tough as they come, man. He'll probably try to go out there and play in that boot if Melvin lets him.
So we'll see when Hayes gets Stephen Vogt back. Do not know. 2-2 the count to Soto. 7 in a row retired by Dallas Keuchel to start the game.
When you look at Keuchel, I mean, there's nothing special about his delivery. There's not a whole lot of angle, crossfire, doesn't throw downhill, doesn't present a tough look for the hitter, but this kid just has a real good idea about pitching.
And how about that? 3-2 off speed, swing and a miss, second strikeout. Yeah, there is no messing around. He gets it, throws it. Usually a pretty good pitch.
And typically there's nothing straight. I mean, that's basically a changeup with about 4 or 5 inches of sink. And when it appears to be a fastball, and most hitters are good fastball or BP speed type fastball hitters, but Keuchel has a little extra movement on every pitch that he throws.
The breakdown. Slider's a good pitch for him. The change. And of course with him the fastball, but it's such a good sinking fastball that it's just not your average two-seamer that the guy tries to get ground balls with. He gets them on a regular basis.
Well, in order to be successful as a pitcher, you need to be able to make the ball move both ways. He can cut it and he can run it, and he can make it go up and down.
Well, there you just saw the pitch just a little up, fastball, not high velocity, but Perino swings and misses. So see where it is.
Elevated fastball.
And now see if he goes to the bottom half of the strike zone. Stayed with a fastball and he gets a strikeout. So 9 up, 9 down for Dallas Keuchel. We're scoreless after 3 from the Coliseum. photo of the game. Tweet your photo to CSNCA Fan Photo. Name and hometown down. You have a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Jeannie from Pleasanton sends in the photo. The birthday group enjoying a luxury suite at the Coliseum. Jeannie, thanks for the photo from Pleasanton. We appreciate it. Not much going on offensively early in this game. A couple of hits for the Astros. No hits for the A's through the first 3 innings. Fowler pops one foul. It'll be Fowler, Carter, and Castro. Fowler struck out looking to end the first inning. Hitless in this series is Dexter Fowler. Fouled again. Tom Wallace, interim manager. He's 3-1. Good winning percentage. Wallace. A lot of managerial turnover though in Houston. Shooty Lawless is the 7th manager the Astros have had since 2007. So that's 7 managers in 8 years.
Bad players get good managers fired.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. And Fowler has his first hit in this series, and it's a line drive to right field.
You know, Glenn, Fowler has always been a good low ball hitter, excuse me. And I know we say this about left-handed hitters a lot, but this is a young man that switch hit when he was with the Colorado Rockies, and he gave it up for the simple fact that he was having problems covering everything but the low pitch. As you can see here, that is basically one of his strengths there, because he is able to get to that pitch without much effort.
So here's Carter. Fowler's got good speed. Got to keep an eye on him. Carter fouled out in the second inning. There's a strike. Getting back to that managerial history with the Astros, Shooty. That 7-year run that I'm talking about started with Phil Garner. Now, Phil Garner had some success, certainly took the Astros to the World Series in 2005. But in 2007, he was the manager and then was replaced by Cecil Cooper. So starting with that season and Phil Garner that year, it's gone Garner, Cooper, Dave Clark was an interim manager, Brad Mills, Tony DeFrancesco, Bo Porter, and now Lawless. It's just a lot. I think there's a lot to be said about continuity with the manager and continuity with the front office.
Well, Chris Carter can't lay off the good high breaking ball of Jason Hamill. Carter's had a lot of success with the fastball here early on, so he is paying close attention to him, that's for sure.
One-two pitch and a good one right on the outside corner. Carter's called out on strikes. Well, that's 4 strikeouts for Jason Hamill.
You have to love the way that he attacked Carter by pitching him backwards. Here, definitely most of the time in Carter's career, he's been getting sliders on the black, and he's looking for one here. But most of the time when you're looking for something that you're not going to get, you're going to be fooled, and he freezes him on a well-placed fastball.
Last 5 starts have been very good for Jason Hamill. 2.40 ERA, so a tough start with the A's, but he has settled in and pitching much better.
Well, Glenn, one thing that jumps out right away to me about those managers that you talked about, each and every one of those guys are great baseball guys, and just timing is everything. Brad Mills was a manager on the rise, being under Tito Francona, and just unfortunately, he just got the ball club at the wrong time.
Castro drives one deep right center field. Coco right in front of the wall. He's got it. The Fowler gets back, and Castro hit that ball well, but comes up short.
That is such a tremendous play by Coco, Chris. I know it appears to be routine for us now because we've watched him make so many great plays here at the Oakland Coliseum. But this ball is well driven. Castro gets both cheeks into this swing, drives it into one of the deepest parts of the field. Coco, Chris, has to take his eye off the ball temporarily. Finds it, locates it, brings it in. Outstanding play.
So 2 outs for Marwin Gonzalez. Gonzalez hit a soft line drive to the shortstop. That was in the 2nd inning. Rangers have taken a 1-0 lead over the Mariners in the 7th inning down in Arlington. See, this to me, Shooty, seems like it would be the chance and the time to try to steal a bag. Marwin Gonzalez is not a power hitter. 2 outs. Trying to get into scoring position.
Well, I think what happens is you've got a manager in the A's dugout who's a former catcher. You've got Lawless, who's an aggressive guy. There's a chess match going on. Both of them understanding that might be the situation. Should I call a pitch out? Should I send him now? The Astros, a team who plays with a lot of enthusiasm and aggressiveness, I would feel that they would be running as well.
Fowler not running, swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Now Gonzalez, I mean, he has a little bit of power. He's got 6 home runs, but would not say he's considered a power hitter.
Well, and Dexter Fowler, you think that that would be a part of his game. Gonzalez looks like he's trying to swing toward an evacuated hole, thinking that Lowry might be covered because Dexter Fowler did make a false break there. Unfortunately for him, Fowler wasn't going.
He runs this time, and it's a swing and a miss. And Jason Hamill has 5 strikeouts to 4 innings. Another runner stranded. Bottom of the 4th coming up, no score.
Celebrate Oktoberfest with the A's on Saturday, September 20th versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Oktoberfest-style beers will be available throughout the ballpark, and 10,000 fans will receive an Oktoberfest Stein courtesy of Cache Creek Casino Resort. In addition, fans may purchase a special ticket to attend a Brewmaster meet and greet that includes a commemorative October ceramic stein. For tickets, visit athletics.com/Oktoberfest.
A's looking for a hit. They don't have one yet. 9 up, 9 down for Dallas Keuchel with 6 ground ball outs and 3 strikeouts. That one tapped slowly, third base line, but foul. Gonzalez was playing way in to start with.
Is this the time of the game, Glenn, when we say, hey, Keuchel has a no-hitter?
Yeah, because we're trying to jinx him.
Okay.
So I think you throw it out there right away. A couple batters into the game.
Hey, Glenn, Keuchel has a no-hitter.
Or through 3. It's September. We try to help out any way we can. We're 6 back in the division. Come on.
You gotta pull out all stops.
Exactly.
And the 2-1 off speed, 2-2. Looks like he's got good stuff today, Dallas Keuchel. Last 9 starts, very good ERA, but just 1 win. Run support has not been there. Ground ball slowly hit. Gonzalez a burying his throw is not in time. Just couldn't get anything on it. So Coco's going to have an infield hit.
You jinxed him, Glenn.
That's what we were trying to do. So that brings up the question, should he have let it go?
Well, Coco gets a great jump, and I don't think you have any chance here anyway. I think that ball's going to stay fair, but Coco somewhat a jailbreak type swing, just trying to stay alive in the box, able to get a piece of it, chop it in the ground, and with his speed, he's going to beat that out 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say, should he have let it go, but if you're a third baseman, you're going to feel that every time.
Absolutely. You've got a chance to make a great play. And looking at the angle of that ball, it could have gone down the line for 2.
First pitch to Gentry, who shows bunt, is low. Royals won again, 2-0 over the Yankees. They just keep rolling along. Tigers will play Giants tonight in the nationally televised. Kansas City a 2.5 game lead in the Central.
Well, I criticized the 1-game playoff, but if you look at that cluster with all the teams that still have a chance, all those cities, all those fans still have so much to look forward to. Boy, when you're throwing strikes and the umpire is right there with you, sometimes you'll get a pitch called in your favor. If that's not a pitcher's strike right there, I don't know what is.
May have been the ultimate. Well, there'll be a lot of interest tomorrow night in Detroit. The Royals and the Tigers will open up a 3-game series at Comerica Park. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So those 2 teams will play that series, and then in a couple weeks they'll play a 3-game series in Kansas City. So they still have 6 games left against each other, and maybe those 6 will decide who wins the Central. But right now, the Royals with a 2.5 game lead over the Tigers. A little bit low.
Quite surprised to see Gentry struggle with getting the sack down against Keuchel, because keeps the ball down in the zone. That's the easiest ball to get down as far as a bunt is concerned. But just goes to show you, there's a lot of late life in his pitches.
Out at second, quick turn by Altuve, but not in time. So Gentry is aboard on the fielder's choice, using that great speed to stay out of the double play. Another ground ball by Keuchel.
Donaldson.
Just think when the A's get in situations, got to find a way maybe to start runners, get some guys over. No, Gentry couldn't get the job done there, but Keiko was a perfect recipe to get himself out of troubled innings because he is that ground ball pitcher.
Here's Donaldson, who takes a pitch just off the plate outside. Donaldson bounced to third in the first. Donaldson is 1 for 8 in this series and just 2 for his last 21. Gentry with a good lead at first. Foul back. But a big hit in the 9th inning by Donaldson yesterday. It got the rally started. And then with 1 out, Norris had the terrific at bat. Ended up getting a single, then put runners at first and third. And then Reddick with the double. A lot of talk after the game on Reddick's double, which was very well hit ball. The talk was, did Fowler have a chance to make this play? Did he misplay it? Now watch where the ball lands and watch where Fowler is.
Well, that ball is drilled, and I don't think he ever really saw it well off the bat. And if you watch the angle in which he went back on that ball, I mean, pretty good outfielders generally try to catch the ball over their shoulder. I mean, that was basically over his head, but I thought you made a great point yesterday. Had Singleton been at first base, the ball that Donaldson hit might have been an out.
Driven deep left center. Fowler is going to catch this one right in front of the wall, and he hustles it back in. So Donaldson didn't miss it by much, and that's the second out. Now I think, watch, he looked like he got it off the end of the bat, just got it up in the air a little bit too much.
Well, as much as Keiko's pounded at the bottom of the zone, you'd have to consider that fastball up being belt high. And we've watched Donaldson several times launch balls straight away to center field. He just couldn't get enough wood on that one.
So 2 outs for Norris. Norris bounced out to short. But in fairness to Dexter Fowler, it was a very well hit ball by Reddick, no doubt about it. And I think it would have been a terrific play if he would have caught it. It was not a ball that every center fielder is going to track down, no problem. It would have been a terrific play.
Well, we're so used to seeing these great players at this level make those plays on a consistent basis. And this is not to criticize Dexter Fowler at all.
No.
Those guys are superior athletes, and that is part of his game. So you just expect him to make those type of plays.
2-0 to Norris is drilled foul. Angels leading the Twins 14-4 in the 8th inning.
If you take a look at Fowler right now, I mean, he's playing fairly shallow. After getting beat last night, you would think that he would probably give himself a little more room out there, but you go with what you know.
Presley over, makes the catch, side retired. So the A's can do nothing with the leadoff single by Coco Crisp, and we're on to the 5th. No score. Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Golden Gate University. Finish your bachelor's degree online or on campus. Golden Gate University. Make it your comeback year. The Paramount Theater in downtown Oakland, not far from the Fox Theater.
Talking about theater, I'm going with my whole family to see Motown on Thursday.
Really?
Man.
Can I go?
Come on, man. We got room for you.
I'll be in Chicago when I could get here.
I'll fly you back. I got some frequent flyer miles. I'll loan you.
How much fun would that be? Go to a Motown concert with Shooty. That would be a lot of fun.
I might dress like James Brown.
That would be a lot of fun. I could see you doing that too. I really could. Text me your outfit for the Motown concert. I want to see that.
You got it.
Two 2-0 to Singleton. He'll be followed by Petit and Presley. There's a strike. 3 hits for the Astros. No walks, 5 strikeouts for Jason Hamill. Singleton popped out to the shortstop.
You know, Glenn, watching Singleton take his hacks up at the plate today, I'd be quite interested in learning what he heard from the great Barry Lamar Bonds yesterday around the batting cage. Pretty intensive conversation going on.
Yeah, Bonds was there for a long time. What we read was Bonds has a relationship with Dexter Fowler, but he was talking to a lot of the Astros hitters. Dan Radisson, one of the assistant coaches for the Astros, listening in.
Yeah, my only problem with that was he's here at the Coliseum, and the way that the A's have been swinging the bat, he should have been over there talking to the A's hitters.
Slide on over. Strike 3 called. Good pitch. And that is strikeout number 6 for Hamill.
I just love the way that the Hamill was pounding the strike zone, pitching backwards. Twice he's gotten freezes from power hitters taking fastballs right down the middle of the plate. But once you get in a guy's head, you can get his game. And when Hamill shows you that he can throw his secondary stuff for strikes early on in the count, that only confuses hitters, as we watched Singleton walk away shaking his head. There you have first pitch breaking ball. Key to his success.
First pitch breaking ball called a strike. That's a beautiful thing. This one flipped to right. Gentry's there. So 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning.
Number 8.
When they talk about success breeds confidence, there's a total different disposition and presence about Hamill in the way that he's going about his business. Extreme amount of confidence in everything that he's doing out there, and that's 99% of it. Confidence and trusting.
Well, when the A's got him from the Cubs, his numbers, he was 8-5 with a 2.98 ERA. So obviously having a very good season, maybe the best season of his career up to that point. And maybe a little adjustment, who knows, coming over a new team where he struggled early on, but now he's in a nice little groove.
That guy needs no glove.
Let's check out the catch.
Soft hands. He could play in the infield. Caught that like it was a raw egg.
Well, there's a couple. The second level here at the Coliseum is foul ball heaven. It's set back just a little bit, and there's a couple spots that just down to our left, right around that area where we're kind of showing, man, they get foul balls all over the place. Curveball. Presley takes it.
It's got to be the biggest joy for a dad and son to come to a baseball game, and the dad convinces his son to bring the glove and foul ball in their section, and the kid catches the ball.
Lowry scoops it up. Presley's fast. He's got to hurry. No problem. 6 in a row retired by Jason Hamill. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Still no score. McDonald's, check this out. Game 4 of the 1987 World Series. That home run hit right there was by Tom Lawless. A 3-run shot off Frank Viola, but that may be the best baseball time. Oh, my goodness. We saw that, and our terrific crew in the truck said, that has to be shown on our telecast. It was the 4th inning. Let's see. We got some more. So, second Major League home run. That was it for Tom Lawless. He was 2 for 25 during the regular season. Cardinals won the game 7-2. But the Twins would win the series in 7 games behind Frank Viola.
I think that was a culmination of someone carving someone up for majority of the short period of time he faced them.
That was unbelievable. 3-run homer by Tom Lawless. And check it out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah. That's one of the. I'm so tired of you getting me, man.
You think Tom Lawless has heard about that bat flip since then? I bet he has. Johnny Gomes is going to drop a soft single into center field. So, second inning in a row, the A's have their leadoff man aboard. So, see if they can do something with it here in the 5th.
Well, one of the benefits of being strong is that a lot of times you can hustle something right over the shortstop's head. Johnny Gomes just doesn't get the fat part of the bat on this ball, maybe 1 grain short, but because he's so strong, he's able to flip it out into shallow left field. Just what the A's need, a leadoff knock.
Here's Lowry. Lowry grounded out to the pitcher. Hit a ball hard, but Keiko reached down to grab it. That was in the 2nd inning. Bunt attempt, rolls foul.
Right away, Glenn, I watched Keiko when he gets in his stretch, and he tried to quick pitch Lowry right there. I talked about trying to disrupt this kid's rhythm. You talk about something that's very moxie out here on the mound. Has a lot of moxie, excuse me. He's trying to disrupt the A's rhythm.
And there's a base hit to right field. Gomes will stop at second base. So Lowry, who thought about bunting the first pitch, lines the second pitch into right field.
When the game ended yesterday, Lowry just served one to left field, not trying to pull a ball. Here from the right side, he does the exact same thing. Stay within himself, hit the ball where it's pitched. You know, he's one of the switch hitters in the league that has probably one of the most consistent swings from both sides of the plate. Not much change from the way that he sets up or the bat path in itself. And that's normally not too normal because most of the time one dominant side will create a different type of swing, but Lowry is so even keeled on both sides of the plate.
So here's Fryman. Fryman grounded out to short in the third inning. Fryman taps that one slowly off the mound. Keuchel fires to second for one. Altuve the turn, and they got him. Very nice play by the Houston Astros. And how about the turn at second base by Jose Altuve?
Well, all the fine things that we talked about in Altuve, except his arm strength, because he doesn't have much, but because he's strong enough with a lot of flickability there, they get the ball to him in a quick way, but the exchange is what makes this double play so great for Altuve here, because he didn't have much time to get rid of it. And he's not a guy that deflects the ball out of his glove. He's one of those that gives you that 1-2 exchange. And to have a guy that big bearing down on you and staying in there, that's pretty impressive.
So now Gomes is at third, 2 outs for Soto. Watch the quick turn.
You watch the exchange here. He flips it from the glove to the hand instead of taking it out of there. And to hang in there and get that ball over the runner's head without throwing it over the first baseman's head is pretty impressive.
And Shooty, correct me if I'm wrong, but when a throw is low, you can't go down with 2 hands. You have to go down with just the glove hand and then get the glove and the ball back up to your throwing hand. But if the throw is low, you're not going to go down to catch it with both your glove and your throwing hand, right?
Well, to have the confidence to flip it up, because that's when a lot of things can go wrong. But it's quite obvious Altuve has done that a number amount of times to have the confidence to do it in such a crucial time of the game.
I mean, generally when you're turning it up play, you want to have your throwing hand close to your glove, but you can't really do it on a play like that.
Absolutely. With a guy bearing down on it like that.
Foul back, now 3-2.
And you make a great point there, Glenn, in the fact that where that ball was thrown and the runner sliding into second base understands that as well, because that second baseman's going to make you get down once he catches that ball.
There's a lot of action going down around the knees. Guy sliding, ball is there. 3-2, big pitch, here it is. And Soto just got a piece of it. Soto struck out swinging in the third inning.
Great time for a 2-out knock, just what the A's need.
Here it is, and it's hit high in the air, left center field. But Presley, it hangs up, and Presley makes the catch. So Soto's retired. A's had first and second, nobody out, but could not score. A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Discover RV in Lodi. Discover the discounts with our summer clearance event. Visit discoverrv.net. No score, top of the 6th inning. Both pitchers very sharp. Both allowing just 3 hits. 3 strikeouts for Keuchel. 6 strikeouts for Jason Hammel. Hamel's first pitch to Marisnik is in for a strike. 72 pitches for Hammel. Rangers still leading the Mariners 1-0. That game now in the 8th inning in Arlington. So he's looking for a little help from the Rangers today. These Astros still have 6 games left with Seattle. And they have 3 games left with Anaheim. They're 5-8 on the year against the Mariners. So A's will be looking for some help from the Astros when they take on those 2 teams. Mariners just 2 behind the A's for the top wild card spot.
Well, a lot of times you circle teams on your schedule late in the year that you felt that you had a pretty good chance to beat. I don't know if anybody's going to take these Houston Astros lightly as you go down the stretch. You've got to give both pitchers a tremendous amount of credit. They've been able to execute really good pitches in crucial situations to get themselves out of some tough jams.
That one hit high in the air. Gomes going back, fighting the sun, still going back, and Johnny Gomes makes the catch. Hang in there, Johnny. Tough play, and he did a good job with it.
Well, one thing that Johnny Gomes understands is that you cannot take this fly ball for granted for 1 second. The one moment that you lose your concentration or take your eye off the ball is going to be the detriment of this play. Blocking the sun with his glove, not putting the glove directly in front of his face and allowing the ball to pass through that dead zone that you can't, or that blind zone, should I say, that you can't see the ball. Johnny Gomes does a great job of battling that fly ball to the end.
Here's Altuve with 1 out. Altuve, a fly ball to center, ground out to short. Donaldson has it. 1 hop on the backhand. Throws. 2 outs. And Donaldson handled that one.
The Oakland A's and Governor X present Salute to Service Sundays this season. At each Sunday home game, veterans, active duty, and first responder personnel can purchase tickets at a discounted price. They will receive $7 off Plaza level tickets and $5 off Plaza Reserve tickets to all Sunday home games. Visit athletics.com/military for more information and tickets.
On the count to Fowler, who has a strikeout and a single. .81 pitches for Jason Hammel. There's only been 1 runner in scoring position against him. Marisnik's 2-out double in the 3rd. He's retired 8 in a row.
When you see the way that Dexter Fowler tried to launch a 2-1 fastball, talk about that angle in his swing and ability to handle that low fastball in his last at bat.
Fowler with 8 home runs on the year. Strike 3 called inside corner. Strikeout number 7 for Jason Hamill. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Perino, Crisp, and Gentry for the A's.
Rewind. Well, if you love a great pitching matchup and you're an aficionado, you should be right here. Jason Hamill has just been on point all day long, freezing Astro hitters in fastball counts and getting them to fish in hitting counts. And don't take anything away from Keiko, a ground ball machine. Through the first 9, there was nothing but strikeouts and ground balls, and not much has changed up until this point. The A's are doing everything that they possibly can to try to get him up in the zone, so possibly they could change what's going on in this game. But we've got a great pitching match here at the HOU at OAK.
First pitch to Perino is a strike. Robbie Grossman has come in the game in left field for the Astros for Alex Presley. Do not know if there's anything wrong with Presley, but if we hear anything, we'll pass it on. You're right, Shooty. The 2 pitchers are the story right now. Keiko and Hamill. 64 pitches for Dallas Keuchel as he opens up the 6th inning. Perino hits it hard off the glove of Gonzalez, and the A's have a base runner. So it's going to be an error on Marwin Gonzalez, the 4th error in this series by the Astros.
It's so easy to play this game in normal position, but now we have to cheat in because there's a possibility of a guy bunting a ball. A guy in Andy Perino is a lot stronger than a lot of people give him credit for. Hits a sharp hit ground ball down on Gonzalez that has some tricky spin on it and a little trickeration off his ankle where this ball ricochets off into foul territory. Perino comes up once again with a critical leadoff hit for the Oakland A's.
Yeah, trickeration is not what you want as an infielder with the ball coming at you.
Oh, no.
So Coco steps in. Coco takes the first pitch strike. What is trickeration exactly?
Well, it's something that just really plays a bad trick on the Glenn. Right in front of you.
I got you.
When you ever use that term, you got to be kidding me. It's trickeration.
Trickeration. Okay. Coco again shows bunt outside. Coco with a ground out and a single. So 3 innings in a row that the A's have had their leadoff hitter trying to do something with it, and that one off the glove of Gonzalez into left field, and that's a hit. So we got an October Quest update from the studio. Let's check it out.
Now batting right fielder, number 3, Craig Gentry.
Well, indeed, the Angels rolling along. They have won 10 out of 12. And they will be at Cleveland tomorrow for a makeup game against the Indians. So, one game stop at Cleveland and on to Texas for a 3-game series Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's the remainder of this road trip for the Angels. In fact, the Angels, all the rest of their games, except for that Monday game in Cleveland, all the rest are against the American League West. So they're playing great baseball.
Yeah, it's so important for the A's to just take care of their own business right now. They can't pay attention to the Angels because basically their destiny is in their own hands. And as long as they win series and they win games, it's going to be very difficult for those teams that are chasing them. But they're truly right in the rearview mirror.
So here is Gentry. Good bunter. Corner infielders in. So here's the, you got to try to execute it as the bunter, and you got to try to execute defensively if you're the Astros. First pitch is a strike.
Well, where Gentry finds himself right now, you've got Singleton bearing down on you because what they're trying to make you do is bunt the ball to him. You've got Keuchel with great control, who just stole a strike on the outside part of the plate, what makes it very hard for Gentry to bunt that ball to third base. So the game is on for sure. Gentry has to execute, though.
And he bunts it toward first. Singleton has it, and he thought about going to third, and he may have had a play, but he didn't. He gets Gentry at first. Almost looks, Shooty, like the play developed perfectly for Singleton to throw to third.
Well, what made the play for the A's is that Gentry bunted this ball pretty hard into the ground. That gave it a little elevation and kept the ball in the air a little longer, which didn't allow Singleton to rush in too quickly. I mean, he was right there, but the one thing that you don't want to do, that you're always taught, is to make sure that you get at least one out there. That would have been a catastrophe for the Astros had he not gotten one there.
And that last replay showed really the third baseman Gonzalez actually pointing to first, telling Singleton to throw it to first. So Gonzalez also not near the bag. So they're going to walk Donaldson and pitch to Norris. So this will be the first walk of the game by Keuchel. It all started with the air.
Was playing with his hair on fire. He's going to make sure that he gets into third base because he understands being on the other end of being the guy doing the sacrifice. And a lot of times when guys don't get great secondary leads at second base, if it's not a perfect bunt, then Singleton has a chance to make that play there. So give Perino a tremendous amount of credit, being heads up in a critical situation, getting a good jump, and making the job relatively easy for Gentry.
All right, so here's Norris. Bases are loaded, one out. Norris a ground out and a fly ball to left. That one drilled foul. So Norris going after Keuchel early in the count.
Glenn, but if you watch Norris there, he had a plan. He was looking for something that he could shoot through the hole there. He got a pitch that you can normally handle doing that, and you're okay with that type of swing on the first pitch.
Just missed outside. Perino at third. Crisp at second. Donaldson at first. Johnny Gomes is the on deck hitter. Side again. The Rangers still leading the Mariners 1-0 that game at the top of the ninth. Texas trying to wrap up a shutout. A's trying to take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Out field shallow. And Norris fouls it back 2-2.
Well, we witnessed Derek being in this same situation in yesterday's game. This is a young man that just does not give in. Has a tremendous ability to extend it back, foul pitches off, continue to battle up there. Good matchup of a strike thrower and a guy that's a pretty good contact hitter.
And Keuchel, not a big strikeout guy, right? Just 3 strikeouts today. And he's got the old equalizer with that great sinker. The pitch is hit hard. Altuve dives. He's going to get the out at first, but the run comes in to score. Terrific play by Altuve. He wanted to go to second, but the ball just trickled away from him just a little bit. And the A's are going to take a 1-0 lead.
Jose Altuve, all skills have been on display, showing the ability to range to his left here on a hard hit ball. One thing that normally happens to an infielder when he's making a play, upon catching the ball, a lot of times the impact of hitting the ground will dislodge the ball out of your glove here. And the one important element of that play, the only way that you're going to be successful is that you have to get up very quickly in order to be able to execute it. Jose tried to get up before he got it, and that's what allowed that ball to just trickle away from him.
2 outs, second and third to run in. Here's Gomes. First pitch strike. Well, not only are you trying to get 1 out, you're trying to get 2.
Oh, yes.
So you're really trying to hurry things up. So the air got the inning started, and Perino, who reached on the air, comes in to score. Tough play for the shortstop, and the throw is in time. Gregorio Petit makes the play. So the A's get a run. There was an error, there was a single, there was a walk, and there was an RBI ground out. 1-0 Athletics. Ten hits in 2001. That's a Houston Astros franchise record for hits in a season. So we're keeping an eye on Jose Altuve, who has 197. Biggio ended his career with 3,060 career hits. He missed being a Hall of Famer by 2 votes last year. So
Hitting off the top of the 7th
looks
inning.
like he is certainly going to get in.
Number 23, Chris Carter.
So it was actually 1998 when Biggio had the 210 hits. So Altuve, a very good chance to break the Astros all-time single season record for hits. Right center, hit pretty well. Coke goes near the wall, and it's off the very top of the wall. And that was almost a home run by Chris Carter. Wow. It is a double And watch how close this was to going out.
Well, just watch. This is more or less an arm swing by Chris Carter here. That just shows you how strong he is. And for him to drive the ball out of the deepest part of the park here, I mean, one more foot and we're talking about a tie game here. So we know the ball carries here during the daytime, but wow. Maybe that's the couple of inches that the A's are looking for things to start turning their way.
So Carter, his 20th double of the year. It's a leadoff double. So the tying run at second. Here's Castro. Castro with a single and a fly ball to center field. A deep fly ball. That was in the 4th inning.
Glenn, Chris Carter is a strong young man.
Yeah, I mean, that off the bat, it just looks like a fly ball, but he must have some good backspin, because his ball just gets up in the air and it just goes, and that's usually what backspin does to a baseball. It just helps it get up in the air and it just keeps going. Marwin Gonzalez is the on-deck hitter. 2-0 pitch, good swing, fouled straight back.
A couple of years back, I saw Chris Carter at an all-season banquet. And you know his mild-mannered ways. I walked over to him. I said, "Hey, no one has talked to you, man. When you leave here, knock over a chair, a table, or something. You're 6'5", 240. Well, his presence is known now in the league.
Yes,
that's
it
for
is.
sure.
Castro fouls it left side. 2-2.
One of the nicest guys. Dave Stewart is his agent. I talked to Stu. I said, "Hey man, don't be afraid to get your guy to show a little more excitement. You know, he hits a homer, or he doesn't act like he's excited." Stu said, "Oh yeah, he's excited. He just won't brag about it. He'll just go next to the next guy and say something like, 'Hey, I really hit that ball far, didn't I?'" So
Looks like he's going to be arbitration eligible after this year, so not a bad time to have a big season, and he's having one. 2-2 pitch, misses up and away. Full count to Jason Castro.
A real crucial time for Hamill now, right in the heart of this lineup. Houston's best hitters. He was able to escape Altuve, but these guys can do some damage here.
Just outside, and it's a walk. First walk in the game issued by Hamill. We'll see if Marwin Gonzalez maybe bunts. Who knows?
Now batting, number 9, Marwin.
We may get some action.
Gonzalez.
Well, Hamill had his way with him in his last at bat when he struck him out. He hit a ball hard to the shortstop early on. But you would think a guy of his skill set in a game like this, and I've always felt if your name is not Albert Pujols or Willie Mays or Hank Aaron, you should be able to bunt when the situation dictates you. For me, this is one of those situations.
And it is bunted, and it's a good one. Norris picks it up, he fires, and they just get Gonzalez. Make that Soto. I'm sorry. Giovanni Soto made the nice play.
Nice play all the way around, executing the bunt. Soto bouncing out behind the plate, but when you get over there as a second baseman, now you have to turn into a first baseman, and a lot of times you find yourself what it feels like to be a first baseman, because now you have to change your feet and get out of the way of the runner and still concentrate on making the catch here. Gonzalez does a great job of deadening the ball here. Soto calls Donaldson off, lets him know that I have this one here easily, big fella. Fires a good shot down to first base.
So here is Singleton. First pitch to Singleton, close call the ball, 1-0. And Ontero's throwing. So interesting here, Shooty, you have a guy who strikes out a ton. Hamill's got 7 strikeouts today, and obviously that's what he's pitching for right here. And this one's popped up, and it'll be into the seats.
It's amazing how this game goes. You get a chance to watch it, and how managers and players play it, how managers manage it. You're in a situation here where it's a one-run game. You're late in the game. The A's are somewhat giving Singleton the run at third base by playing the right side of the infield back. All he has to do is execute a ground ball, and you have a tie game here. On the flip side, you would think, well, why don't the A's play the infield in and take that run away? Well, the one thing they don't want to do is let that guy in at second base on the base hit.
Up and away, 2-1.
And as you said, Glenn, Hamill has handled Singleton pretty well in this game, and he is definitely a candidate to be a strikeout victim here.
And this game's going to be tied, grounded to Perino, so Singleton had to make contact, and he did. Carter comes in to score, so it's a 1-1 ball game. Castro now at third. So Singleton gets his 43rd RBI.
Well, Hamill just can't get that breaking ball down in the zone and get Singleton to chase out of it again. But with his long swing and that ball spinning up in the zone, that allows him to get a piece of it, not make hard contact, but enough to get it beyond Hamill to get that run in.
Well, he's got to get Gregorio Petit. And that one's hit into center field, and that's a base hit. And the Astros take the lead 2-1. Petit goes after the first pitch. Did not hit it real hard. Kind of a little jam shot line drive, but plenty good enough to give the Astros the 2-1 lead. So that's a huge 2-out hit by Petit.
Always an indication of a pitcher tiring when he starts missing up in the zone. We watch Singleton handle a breaking ball spinning up in the zone. You have Petit, who's sitting at the bottom of the order, who's a contact type hitter, get on top of a fastball that wasn't easy to do early on for Hamill because he was pounding the zone, but it's just very difficult to have success as a pitcher when you're missing up in that part of the hitting area.
So here's Robbie Grossman, who came in the game the last inning for Presley in left field. Grossman fouls it straight back. So a double, a walk, a sacrifice, an RBI ground out, and an RBI single. And the Astros have a 2-1 lead. So another former athletic, Gregorio Petit, with a big hit. We've seen that a lot this year. I know it's just more of a coincidence than anything, but former athletics get big hits.
I beg to differ there, Glenn, because it seems to happen time and time again. I mean, guys that you have forgotten about come back and haunt you.
Donnie Murphy. Donnie Murphy, some big hits earlier this year.
Rajay Davis.
Rajay Davis won a game here for the Tigers.
I saw Gregorio Petit 2 years ago down in Mexico playing. So he's resurrected his career and comes up with a big hit against his former team.
What are you doing down in Mexico?
Scouting in the bushes.
Oh, 2 the count.
That's where a lot of guys learn how to hit down in that Mexican league, Glenn.
Curveballs?
Oh, yeah. Some of the better ones you'll see.
Pitch number 100, and here it is, and it's blocked by Soto.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, another former athletic just retired from playing down there, Rubio Durazo.
Really? He was playing down there?
Yes, he was. A hero. Soto, just a tremendous defender back there. A lot of confidence on those breaking balls in the dirt.
Hell, quick glance at Petit, the runner at first. got a pretty good lead, and he goes, and the pitch hits Grossman in the foot, and Grossman will be at first. So the inning continues. Hamill was ahead of Grossman, but could not finish him off, and now there's runners at first and second for Marisnick.
When you look at Hamill breaking ball down in the dirt here, they say you have to move out of the way, but as a hitter, that's the one that you learn how to wear, because basically if it hits you, it's not going to hurt you. Grossman understanding he has an opportunity to get a free pass, and he takes that one for the team.
Well, Jason Hamill's going to be disappointed. His team got him a run in the bottom of the sixth, but he gives up 2 here in the top of the seventh, and he's going to leave trailing 2-1. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. From the Texas Rangers. Here the Astros have taken a 2-1 lead here in the seventh, still batting as Otero faces Marisnick. First pitch is on the outside corner, first strike. So Dan Otero pitched last night, or yesterday I should say, through 15 pitches. He's 8-1 with a 2.10 ERA. An inning and 2/3 yesterday. What a play by Donaldson. Steps on the bag. Side retired. Little highlight reel play for Josh Donaldson, but 2 runs for the Astros. 7th inning stretch from the Coliseum. 2-1 Houston. All right, time now for the Prius Get Happy Cam. It's powered by the Toyota Prius. Final game of the homestand, and as we mentioned earlier, just 9 home games left in the regular season for the Athletics, and then certainly we hope a bunch of home games in October. Still work to do for the Athletics as Astros leading 2-1. And shooting, speaking of Happy Cam, we want to congratulate Kate Longworth, who, of course, a reporter and an anchor for Comcast Sportsnet. She spends a lot of time out here covering the Athletics with us pretty much every game last year. But she had a baby this morning, so we congratulate Kate. We call her Kate the Great because we think she's awesome.
And now it's Mama Long.
That's right. Jace Thomas Longworth was born at 5:15 a.m. So Jace was not concerned about time of day. 5:15 a.m.
Well, congratulations, Kate, and fabulous name. One of our great producers over at Comcast Sportsnet. Name is Chase Griggs, and I've always thought that was a great name. So congratulations, we've got another one.
That's right. 7 pounds 3 ounces. Chase Longworth. Base hit center field. Another leadoff runner for the Athletics. So that is 4 consecutive innings. The A's have had their leadoff man aboard. And now they're trailing 2-1.
Well, Jed Lowry just makes hitting look so easy, and the better ones normally do. So consistent. Most of the time, his hits are up the middle. And what's so impressive about that, you talk about hitting, it's so much easier to see with 2 eyes. Jed Lowry keeps both eyes on the bat.
And here's Fryman. Fryman is grounded out and is hit into a double play.
Talk about that. Glenn, the great Tommy Davis used to say, don't let the left eye go left.
I like that. Down the left field line. And that baby's gone. And the A's grab the lead right back 3-2 thanks to Big Nate.
Well, the one thing that I can hear under Big Nate's breath right now is, you take that, Shooty Babbitt, because you said I should have been bunting the last time. Well, you're going to try to get over a fastball. I'm going to show you what big guys do. I'm going to let a little shaft out for you here. Big Nate coming up with a big-time swing. They got to elevate that bridge in there a little higher. Wow.
So a huge home run by Nate Fryman. Well, he was frustrated in the 5th inning when he hit into that double play. But he lines one just inside the foul pole down the left field line to give the A's the lead 3-2.
Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
So neither of the starting pitchers could get a shutdown inning. Right field hit pretty well. Marisnik's going back, still going back. He's near the fence. He makes the catch for the first down.
Well, I don't know, Glenn. If I was Arthur, I'd probably write a book over the past 3 years called Magical Moments. Every time the A's seem to have their back up against the wall, somebody provides a great pitching performance, a great swing. Nate Fryman with his short arms for a big, long, tall guy does a great job of pulling his arms in and hooking one down in the left field corner. Real difficult to keep the ball fair down there, but when you've got the type of power that Nate does, the ball gets out of the park so quickly, doesn't have time to get fouled. If that's dropping a hammer or dropping head, but I know what he did. It looked like both of them. And the way that Bolt gripped the handle, I don't know, it might have been like one of Fryman's girlfriend's golf clubs. Looked like one of her shots.
That was home run number 5 for Fryman.
Or is that his wife?
Oh, yeah.
The golfer.
She's good, too.
Yes, she is. Big Nate shortening up his stride a little bit, working with the great Ricky Henderson. Showing a tremendous amount of extension.
2-2 now to Perino. Perino a strikeout, then he reached on an error in the 6th and scored a run. Perino staying alive.
Well, this was heartfelt here because Nate, he wanted to get the job done more than anyone in his last at bat, and to have some redemption, to step up in a big time situation, that has to make you feel so good.
Close pitch, and now it's 3-2.
When you find yourself in that situation that final's in, your manager shows a confidence in you, not make you sacrifice. And one thing you want to do is reward him for that confidence. And Nate got a second chance to do that. And what a big time score.
Perino has a base hit to right field. So good at bat for Andy Perino. So 7 hits now in the game, 3 of them coming in this inning by the A's.
Outstanding at bat, Glenn. And one thing that you want to see out of your little guys is to keep the ball out of the air. Serve the ball around the diamond, find some holes, keep it on the ground. Therefore, you give you a chance, that much more opportunity to find a hit somewhere. And Perino could be very huge for this club because we know how great he plays defensively. But for him to be able to give the team a little injection with his offense, that'll be great. That's his second hit of the day.
Now winning, center fielder, number 4, Coco.
Brett Strum, the pitching coach, is going to come out. Varys, the big right-hander, is warming up out in the bullpen. So 97 pitches for Dallas Keuchel. So the Angels have won. The Mariners have lost. So the meeting is over as Coco Crisp steps in. Coco's got a couple of hits. He's 2 for 3. What a good series. 5 for 12. First pitch is bounced off the glove of Gonzalez. It trickles into shallow left field. Moreno will stop. So Gonzalez having a tough time down at third. It's going to be a base hit. But he's had a couple of balls that probably should have been taken care of.
Well, the last 3 balls that have been hit Gonzalez's way has eluded him just by 2 inches. As a matter of fact, they all have tipped off his glove. But just like the fly balls here at the Coliseum, those balls that are hit on the ground, there is a tough opportunity for him to see balls here, because against those seats and those white shirts over there, a lot of times you can struggle with ground balls as well, especially if you've not played here a lot.
Here's Gentry. 1 out. Couple of runners on. Castro comes out in front of home plate, going through some signs. Gentry, a strikeout, reached on a fielder's choice, and then had a sacrifice bunt. Fouls that one at the plate. So the A's looking to add on. Fryman, a 2-run homer here in the bottom of the 7th inning to give the A's the 3-2 lead. Gentry bounces that one foul down the third baseline. Royals won their game. Tigers play tonight. And 3 weeks left in the regular season. Gentry holds up. No swing. A's will go to Chicago to take on a White Sox team that has lost 4 in a row. White Sox 63 and 79.
I look at that matchup, Glenn. The great thing about that series is that you don't see Chris Sale until the last day.
Thursday. The nasty one, Chris Sale. A's will see Hector Noesi tomorrow night against Sonny Gray. John Danks, a lefty, on Tuesday. White Sox have not announced their pitcher for Wednesday, and then Sale on Thursday. So face a couple of left-handers in that series. Gentry shoots with foul. A lot of lefties the A's are facing lately. They'll face Paxton next weekend in Seattle. Keuchel today. Here's the matchup tomorrow. Sonny Gray looking for his 14th win. Hector Noesi, who had a tough start to this year and had a very poor season last year. He's actually pitched a little bit better lately for the White Sox.
Been bouncing around a lot. Started out in Seattle, New York. Hadn't been able to define his role as a pitcher, and I think the White Sox think they may have found something there with him as a starter.
Keuchel, quick look at second, and the 2-2 pitch, roll foul again. Looks like next weekend in Seattle, which is going to be a very big series. It looks like it's going to be Chris Young, and then Paxton, and then Felix Hernandez. Those are the 3 guys the A's are going to face, tentatively in that order. So the A's would face Felix Hernandez Sunday, but we'll see if the Mariners, for whatever reason, maybe do a flip-flop somewhere. Do not know if that will happen, but in the air to center field, and Fowler is there, and he's got it. So Gentry is out, 2 outs.
Well, the one thing about it, the A's need to put their foot on the gas pedal early on in those series, because the one thing that you don't want to do is have to win a series against King Phillies or Chris Sale. So you look for them to get off to some very quick starts.
Tom Lawless is coming out. He's going to make a pitching change, so Veras is going to come in for Dallas Keuchel. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts.
The 14-pennant race when the A's play host to the Angels for the final 3 regular season home games of the 2014 season. On September 22nd through the 24th, the A's and the Angels will square off in a 3-game set with postseason implications on the line. Get your tickets now online at athletics.com/ticket. I'm Art calling 510-638. Go A's!
So Dallas Keuchel, this for a short time, had a lead in this game, but it did not last long. So he goes 6 2/3 innings. Finding the big 2-run home. He's going to add on 2 on, 2 out for Donaldson. He'll be facing Jose Veras. First pitch is inside. One with a 4.58 ERA for Veras. Let go by the Cubs. And back with the Astros. That curve, and he's got a good one.
Well, Glenn, if you look at his line, there's 22 walks in there. When you look at a guy like Veras who has a whole lot of things going on with his delivery, a lot of effort there. A lot of times it affects his command and his control. His stuff is good enough to get strikeouts, but he still walks his share of hitters.
And Donaldson chased that pitch way up and in.
You look at Donaldson, and a guy like Veras who creates so much deception because everything that he has going on. A lot of times hitters get caught up in looking at the wrong thing. You always try to pick up the baseball somewhere. The old ones, the good ones, the Hall of Famers, the guys like Joe Morgan always talked about picking the ball up as it comes out of the jersey, because you look at those letters across his jersey, that's the one thing that normally doesn't move that much, and the ball seems to always come through at that area. So Donaldson really has to concentrate on the area, not get caught up in all that movement.
1-2 pitch, way outside. 2-2 the count. Perino at second, Crisp at first. Outfield straightaway for Donaldson. The left fielder, Robbie Grossman, is incredibly shallow. In fact, in right field as well. And this is a guy who's got 26 home runs. How about that shooting? Understand Marisnik and Wright is probably thinking, I want to have a chance to throw somebody out, but wow, are they ever shallow?
You know, I just think that's their philosophy, Glenn, because we watched Dexter Fowler get beat over his head yesterday, and we talked about how shallow that he plays. And yesterday the game was won on a base hit to left field in which the outfielder couldn't throw the runner out at the plate. So maybe it's because of the strength of the arms that they're trying to give that outfielder a better chance in a situation like this.
3-2. 2 outs, runners go. So that'll help the A's in this situation. Here's the pitch. It's hit up the middle. Knocked down by the shortstop Petit. Nowhere to go, but he saved a run for the moment. I think Petit was shaded into the hole. So he had a long ways to go just to even having the possibility of knocking that ball down.
Well, when the team was here, he was known for having a stellar glove at shortstop. But once again, understanding the significance of catching the ball and being able to get up, I think Gregorio tried to get up a little too quickly. Never really fielded the ball clearly and cleanly, but had a chance on the second time. But Gallego was tempted to send him in this situation here, but Gregorio kind of recovered very quickly and was able to keep the ball underneath him to keep Gags from sending him at third base.
So Adam Dunn's going to hit for Norris. This is the DH spot. First pitch to Dunn. Swing and a miss.
Real good fastball by Veras down in the zone here, catching Adam Dunn freshly off the bench. But Dunn's trying to somewhat ambush him with the first pitch.
Now 1-1 the count to Dunn. Got 12 career grand slams. So good numbers with the bases loaded. 293 the batting average, which is really well above his career batting average. Swing and a miss, which was running away from Dunn. So Veras ahead in the count now, 1-2.
Glenn, you make a great point about his batting average now. Veras shown ability to run the fastball away from Dunn's big old barrel on his back. But I was talking to Chili Davis behind the cage today, and he said, boy, oh boy, when I became 35 years old, I was a much better hitter than I was when I was 22. The problem is my skill set wasn't the same.
One-two pitch, here it is. And just a bit high.
Strike 3 yesterday.
Yep.
And that line that Chili used, you know, that's something I say a lot. Only if I knew that back then. I mean, you're talking about borderline at the numbers, depending on how you looked at it. Good thing the umpire had the view that he did as far as Adam Dillon is concerned.
2-2. Dunn wants timeout. He'll get it. Gregerson has pretty much finished warming up. He's just kind of standing near the mound at this point in the A's bullpen. So he is ready to go for the top of the 8th inning. Two pitch. Here it is. Swing and a miss. Dunn was way out in front of a very slow curveball, 77 miles an hour. So Nate Fryman with a home run, his 5th of the year, and this was a big one. Gives the A's a 3-2 lead as we head to the 8th inning.
Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports. And by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
So Nate Fryman, the hero right now, with his 2-run homer, giving the A's a 3-2 lead. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog expert. So Gregerson comes in, and this is his inning, the 8th. So Sam Full takes over in left field for Gomes. So Gregerson facing Altuve, and drops the first one in there for a strike. Altuve, Fowler, and Carter here in the 8th inning. So the heart of the order. Altuve's 0 for 3 today. A fly ball to center and a couple ground outs to short. So he is now 3 for 11 in the series. Up the middle, and he gets that first hit today. Jose Altuve. So hit number 198 on this season, and that's how the 8th inning starts.
Well, you can only hope to contain him because you can't stop him. I mean, early on, he's an aggressive hitter. It doesn't matter if it's a breaking ball or fastball. Altuve finds a way to get the fat part of the bat on the ball and force his way up the middle of the diamond here. And just a real good all-around player.
So now Gregerson faces Dexter Fowler, who is 1 for 3, a single and a couple of strikeouts. First pitch to Fowler, outside. Gregerson was the winning pitcher last night, or yesterday. It's a day game. Through 1 inning, and he's come back. He gets the W. Fowler bunts it. Soto grabs it, thought about second, throws to first. So Fowler is retired. So the Astros bunt there. Had the option of Altuve trying to steal a bag as well. Then you're not giving up an out, but they decided to use the bunt.
We'll probably get a chance to see if Soto owns 4 fingers here, because if he does, he'll probably put him up.
And they will.
Yeah, we've seen Chris Carter do enough damage in this series.
So Carter will be walked. 2 doubles and a homer in 4 career at-bats against Gregerson.
Contrary to what a lot of people think, as far as going up there getting a walk as a hitter, is not that easy. But for Chris Carter, he truly earned this one here, in which he's handled the A's in this series.
That's right. He started earning this walk on Friday night.
Absolutely.
Well, not long ago, Carter with a monster home run off Gregerson. That was in the 8th inning. Gave the Astros the lead, and they won the game.
You could either say that was a monster home run or a monster hit it. Either way you look at it, it was monstrous.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Houston. Jonathan Villar.
Jonathan Villar is going to pinch run
for Carter.
And he's pinch running for Carter. So
now batting, number 15, Jason
a ton
Castro.
of speed on the bases for the Astros, with Altuve at second, Villar at first, and Jason Castro is the hitter. Marwin Gonzalez is the on-deck hitter. So the Astros trying to answer right back. First pitch to Castro is outside.
Gregerson has to really be careful with Castro. One of the better hitters in this Astro lineup. going to be an all-star for years to come.
Castro on the ground, scooped up by Perino, out at second, double play. A huge double play turned by the A's, and the Astros had a couple of runners on, but they do not score. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's 3-2 Athletics.
Telecast is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. A lot of pitching through the first 5 innings, and then the offense came to life. 2-6-1 for the Astros, 3-9-0 for the Athletics. Keiko gave up 2 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. Right now, he would be the losing pitcher. Jason Hamill was rolling along. Hamill gave up a couple of runs in the 7th inning. The big hit, Nate Fryman, a 2-run homer. Fryman hit that home run in the 7th inning. Gave the A's the 3-2 lead. So Jose Veras back out there. And he's going to face Sam Fuld. So Fuld came in the game for defense, so he's going to get an at-bat. We'll be with you from Chicago tomorrow. First of a 4-game series in the Windy City. Chapman, the lefty. Volkanevich, the righty. Fuld hits one high and foul. Sonny Gray is going to pitch for the A's tomorrow night. So Ryan Cook is loosening up. Looks like he may have a chance to get a save maybe in the 9th inning.
He's probably
going to tack on some runs here.
Well, and this probably will be good for that State Farm promo insurance run inning, huh?
That's right. A couple. So O'Flaherty not up in the 9th. It's Cook. Fuld with a shot to right, playing shallow as Marisnik. He's got it.
That's an overstatement, playing shallow, Glenn.
Telling you, he's been playing, and I'm not exaggerating, by far the shallowest of any right fielder we've seen this year.
And that's a base hit on most days. Sanford does a great job of squaring one up, but man, that's heartbreak there.
So that'll bring up Lowry. Lowry, 2 more hits today. So his average climbing. He's 5 for 11 in this series, and of course a game winner yesterday.
Well, you talked about former athletics coming back to haunt them. Jed Lowry is somewhat haunting his former team in the Houston Astros.
So here's the game-winning hit yesterday.
Jed Lowry understanding the situation of the game, not trying to do too much. And, I mean, that's a pretty good pitch for him to be able to get on top of and hit it through the hole over there. Talking about a CNI base hit. It's a heartbreaker as far as the Astros are concerned.
Ouch. Ouch. So that was the 9th walk-off hit this year for the Athletics. The first time that Jed Lowry has got the walk-off treatment. Against the Astros, the A's have put 4 games in the 9th inning, all against Chad Qualls. Think about that, Shooty. That's 4 games where you're losing going into your final at bat against the same team, against the same pitcher. Altuve leaps. Looks like he may have got a glove on it, but Lowry has his 3rd hit.
Time now for a Honda player of the game. No doubtedly, Nate Fryman, Redemption 101, getting an opportunity to save face, drills a pitch down the left field line, give the A's a needed cushion, a lead again, excitement and confidence, just what this club needs.
So here's Fryman. On Fryman and to hit the bat, so it's a foul ball. But you think about those 4 games, Shooty. I mean, and again, it's all hypothetical, but what if you don't win those 4? I mean, 9th inning comebacks are rare. I mean, the A's do it a little bit more than most teams. It's not easy to do, to come back, win a game that you're trailing in the 9th inning. Especially against the same guy. I mean, Qualls has had a decent year for them, but against the A's, forget it. 7 games for Chad Qualls. He's 0-4, 4 blown saves. His ERA is 27.
I guess it's safe to say that the A's are in his head right now.
I don't think there's any question. That one bounces away from Castro. Lowry reads it well, and he gets to second.
Exceptional base running by Lowry there. Reading ball in dirt the whole way. I mean, basically, that was just a jog in the second base, understanding that no matter how well that Castro blocked this ball in the dirt here, which he did a great job of, but his job is to soften the blow and keep that ball in front of him and don't let it get too far. But as a base runner, you understand if that ball only bounces 3 to 4 feet away from that catcher and you get a great secondary lead, you can basically walk into second base.
So now there is an insurance run out there in scoring position. Swing and a miss on the 1-2 pitch, a fastball, and Fryman strikes out.
And Glenn, those that may not understand what a secondary lead is, when a runner is on base, he'll take a primary where he ushers off the bat. You watch Fryman here, fastball that he can't lay off of, tall guy that kind of squats down and then raises up. Very difficult to get on a ball that high in the zone that way. You basically have to have an erect type stance in order to be able to get down on a ball like that.
2 outs, Soto steps in. Soto is 0 for 3. In first strike with that breaking ball.
But back to that lead, a hitter will take his primary lead, which he takes the first one off of first base. But once the pitch is thrown, depending on how quickly and how far he shuffles off the base, will indicate how quickly people get an opportunity to advance to the next, and Lowry had great anticipation on that ball in the dirt.
Soto hits one very high toward the bullpen down the right field line and into the seats. There's a lot of traffic down there if you're Jake Marisnick. Check out all the people down there. You got chairs, you got teammates, you got security guards, you got Gatorade buckets. There's a lot going on down there. Looks like Christmas morning down there.
And his teammates were running away from him instead of trying to help him.
So 0-2 to Giovanni Soto. Strike 3 called. Soto knew it. So a couple of strikeouts in the 8th inning for Ferris, and we're headed to the 9th. Cook will try to save it. A's trying to win the series. So the A's 3, the Astros 2, and it is the 9th inning. With Sean Doolittle still on the disabled list, Ryan Cook will get an opportunity to pick up a save. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. So Cook, who has 1 save this year, he'll be looking for number 2. Sean Doolittle getting close to coming back, but until then, somebody's got to grab the 9th inning.
I think Cook is very well capable of the job.
I think you're right. He's going to face Marwin Gonzalez, John Singleton, Gregorio Petit. First pitch runs outside. Cook pitched on Friday, an inning and a third. No hits, no runs with 3 strikeouts. Not close, 2-0. Interesting with Cook. He's pitched extremely well this year. When he struggles occasionally, we saw a little bit more last year, it's that fastball control, and the ball kind of runs up and away to a left-handed hitter. And he's just done it 3 times in a row. And it's hard to figure out. We saw it quite a bit last year. This year, not very much.
Glenn, you know the Astros are well aware of that, and one thing that they're going to do is they're going to take a strike. They're going to make Cook pound the strike zone before they swing.
And a 4-pitch walk to Gonzalez, and some moans from the crowd as really none of those pitches were very close.
Now batting, number 28, John Singleton.
So the tying run is at first for John Singleton. And pinch hitter Mark Krause, big strong left-handed hitter, has come into the on-deck circle. First pitch to Singleton is outside, 1-0.
You see Kurt Young going out to the mound to talk to Cook. Either he's going to tell him you got to go a different way about attacking this hitter, or he's seen something in his delivery or his release that he could correct very quickly, because it's quite obvious Cook is missing something for him to miss in the zone the way that he is.
So Singleton steps back into the batter's box. There's your tying run, Marwin Gonzalez. He's got decent speed. Not necessarily a base stealing threat, but pretty good speed. Singleton hits one high and foul just to our left. Singleton is 0 for 3 with a pop out, a strikeout, and a ground out. The ground out in the 7th inning knocked in a run. Straight back, fastball 95 miles an hour. Singleton may have helped Cook out a little bit there.
Absolutely. I mean, when you expand the zone like this and the hitter goes outside of the zone, now it only makes him susceptible to anything that Cook may throw up there to him. It's quite obvious that Singleton is not seeing the ball very good.
This one's popped up. Soto coming back. He's got room and he makes the catch. Singleton pops out for the first out.
That's what you call a major league pop-up there, Glenn. This ball is hit high in the air by a very strong man, but Soto does a great job right away snatching that mask and that helmet off to make sure when that ball drifts back toward the field that his feet are nowhere near them, which could make him stumble and perhaps miss a pop ball. But the professional and the solid defensive catcher that he is execute the play.
Number 18, Mark Krause.
So this is Mark Krause, a left-handed hitter with 6 home runs. He's 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter. He's got 6 home runs and 179 at-bats. So very good power, strikes out a lot. And the first pitch, he's up and away. See, that's the pitch right there. As the ball back to Cook has to be dug out of the dirt. That pitch right there to Krause is the one Singleton swung at a couple times.
And everywhere that Cook has missed thus far has been out of the zone, away from the hitter.
Missed again, 2-0. So another meeting at the mound between Soto and Cook this time. On deck is Robbie Grossman. So Krause steps back in. is our first time we've seen Krause in this series. Missed again, 3-0. It's amazing. Every pitch is almost in the same spot. Well, hard to figure out.
I see Soto setting up a way, and if you're going to miss to a guy like Krause, that's probably where you want to miss. But with Cook struggling with his command here, he's going to have to make an adjustment somewhere, call a different pitch or something.
Missed again, up and away, not close. So 2 on, 1 out. And here's Grossman, who's a switch hitter. So they get some more action in the bullpen.
Now batting, number 19, Robbie Grossman.
So the left-hander Fernando Abad is getting himself ready quickly. Marisnik, a right-handed hitter, is in the on-deck circle. We're going to get another pinch hitter, or pinch runner, excuse me. It's going to be L.J. Hose who's going to run for Krause.
For Houston, Hose running for Krause.
So Hose now the runner at second. Gonzalez is the runner at. Hose is the runner at first. Gonzalez the runner at second. Here's Grossman. Way outside, ball 1. Ten balls, 3 strikes. And the 3 strikes were swinging strikes by Singleton, and they were questionable whether they were strikes. Well, now it's 2-0.
When I look at Cook, he's one of these guys in the delivery is one of these rhythmic guys. And what I mean by that, he has the double tap. And when you do that as a pitcher, one important element is gathering over the rubber so your rhythm and your timing's together so you can drive the ball down in the zone. And when that timing is not on, a lot of times you run from your arm a little bit and the body gets out in front, and that's what makes you miss up and out of the zone.
And that one is in for a strike. So the crowd cheers, and it's 2-1, and maybe that will get Cook back in that rhythm.
But Cook has to make sure that he keeps his direction going toward the plate, opposed to pulling his shoulder away from the strike zone.
Missed again. So now it's 3-1. The tying and go-ahead runs are already on the base paths. Marisnik is the on-deck hitter. After him, it would be Altuve. So Cook taking his time. Three-one pitch is swung and foul back. So that was a good fastball, and Grossman had a good swing right out over the plate. So now the count is full.
Pretty good fastball by Cook here. I mean, when he was at his best, this is what he did. He just attacked the bat and said, this is what I got. Let me see if you can hit it. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get the ball in that zone or that area.
3-2 pitch, up and away, and Cook has walked the bases loaded. So Bob Melvin obviously disheartened at what he has seen from Cook here in the 9th inning, and he's got to go get a bod. So Cook gets 1 out, but he walks 3, and Abad coming in to face Marisnik.
the A's 2014 season with your own team photo presented by Kingsford Capital Management. On Sunday, September 21st at the A's vs. Phillies game, 10,000 fans will go home with a 2014 team photo, a perfect souvenir for collecting autographs. For more information and tickets, head to theathletics.com/tickets.
So Ryan Cook out. 3 walks. The bases are loaded, 1 out. A's clinging, and I mean clinging, to a 3-2 lead as Marisnick steps in. He's a right-handed hitter. Altuve is in the on-deck circle. Lots of speed on the bases for the Astros. First hit, Marisnick is hit high in the air, deep right center field. Gentry's going back. He's near the wall. He makes the catch. The run comes in to score. The throw goes past, but Abad luckily backing it up. So Marisnick hit a long drive to right field that scored Gonzalez. This game is tied. And now you got to get Altuve.
Well, to elevate a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in the first pitch is a pretty good job by the hitter. You got to give him credit. Give Gentry a lot of credit for getting back on the ball that's driven pretty deeply, and Abad having very heads up, backing up third base there, being in a position where that ball is a tweener basically, because the cutoff man was missed, and that's basically no man's land where that ball landed. But Abad with heads up played it.
And they're going to walk Altuve, meaning the bases will be loaded to face Fowler. How about that?
Well, it's pretty hard to disagree with that move, Glenn. We're looking at a guy who's considered as one of the best players in the American League this year, and turning Dexter Fowler around on his right side, something that he hadn't gotten a chance to do much here in this series. You probably have a better opportunity to get him.
There's more numbers backing you up. .417 against left-handers this year. So the A's figuring they want nothing to do with Altuve. Take their chance with Dexter Fowler. So there's the intentional walk.
Now batting, number 21.
So here comes Fowler.
Dexter Fowler.
Now Fowler this year, his breakdown as a right-handed hitter, .333, as a left-handed hitter, .250. He's got 93 at-bats right-handed and 2 for 4 against Fernando Abad. So Ho's at third, Grossman at second, Altuve at first, Fowler the hitter. First pitch outside with a fastball, 90 miles an hour. So it's been Hamill, Otero, Gregerson, Cook, and Abad. Astros have tied it here in the 9th inning. Well, back and forth game. Missed again, 2-0. Fowler is 1 for 3 with a single and a sacrifice. And now it's 3-0. So Abad has no choice but to throw a strike. He has to do it. Here's the pitch. And the strike is called.
Well, we never said 3-0 was automatic, but sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much.
Well, turnabout around is fair play. They got a pitcher's pitch that was down in the dirt. So now everything is even.
3-1. And that one is outside, and a run trots in, and the Astros have taken the lead 4-3. He got one close pitch, but he wasn't going to get them both.
Come on, B.
So this is a head-scratching top of the 9th inning for the Athletics.
Well, Glenn, I watched the way that he attacked Fowler. That being the case, you might as well have left Altuve at the plate and pitch around him and possibly get him to chase out of the zone. Once again, Abad missed away just like Cook did the same way.
So the hitter is going to be Jonathan Villar. Villar pinch ran for Carter in the 8th inning, and that is why he is now in the DH spot. Villar is a switch hitter.
Villar.
So the A's pitchers have walked 5 in this inning, and 2 runs have scored. Here's Villar, and that one almost went to the backstop. Soto had a reach back for it, and he was able to get it.
Well, it's quite obvious that Abad is struggling with his feel right now, and he can't finish his pitches off. And Soto kind of set up on the inner half of the plate, and for him to miss that badly, there's definitely some feel issues there.
That's Tony Sipp, the left-hander, getting ready in the bullpen. How about that? Astros have not won a game when trailing after 8 innings this year.
That is incredible.
So 1-1 the count to Villar. Villar 1 for 2 in this series. That's low, 2-1. Maybe the strangest inning I've seen from A's pitchers in a long, long time. And now it's 3-1. And we're going to have another meeting.
And it's so uncharacteristic of this bullpen, because normally when you get the game to the 6th inning, basically the odds of this team holding on to a lead is really, really good. And guys who've been very good for you this year just can't seem to get a hold on what they're trying to get done out there today.
The A's, with their great comeback ability, have to keep this close. Three and 1 to Villar. And here it is. And that's a strike on the outside corner. Good pitch there. 3-2. So now the runners will be taken off.
Well, they always tell you 3-1 situation like this, you'll get the same pitch 3-2. So don't help the pitcher out. Make him throw another.
This one's foul back. All fastballs from Abad. Now, Abad, he's very good against left-handers because he's got that great slider. Maybe a little bit of a different situation with right-handed hitters. But he's throwing all fastballs.
Well, in order to get to the secondary, you've got to be able to establish the primary.
That's a very good call. 3-2 pitch is hit high in the air down the right field line. Gentry into foul territory, and Gentry grabs it. Side retired. So a couple of runs for the Astros, 5 walks by A's pitchers, and A's have to come back. They trail 4-3 going to the bottom of the 9th. we got it. Know it all with Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai. It's tonight at 10:30 on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. All the highlights from our ball game here at the Coliseum. A full day in the NFL with the Raiders and the Jets, and the 49ers and the Cowboys. Andrea Nakano and Ahmed Fareed will host Sportsnet Central tonight. So Tony Sipp comes in. Tony Sipp has 3 saves on the year. He's 4-2 with a 3.07 ERA. Sipp pitched on Friday, and he was very impressive. Pitched a couple innings, had 4 strikeouts.
Marwin Gonzalez moves from third base to shortstop.
And he got the save. So there's the defensive changes. Matt Dominguez comes in the game to play third base. Marwin Gonzalez moves from third to short. So Dominguez at third, Gonzalez at short. And we're going to get a pinch hitter for Andy Perino. It's going to be Callaspo. So Tony Sipp, the left-hander, comes in, trying to get his 2nd save in this series. Perino was 2 for 3 in his effort this afternoon. Callaspo will try to get something going in the bottom of the 9th. He reaches for the first one and fouls it back. So it's been a back and forth game. It seems like every time one team scores, the other one comes back and scores. We've seen that happen today, and that's what the A's will try to do here. Billy Burns getting loose. Somebody gets on, he could certainly pinch run. Oh, 1 pitch to Callaspo. Another foul ball. Sometimes you just scratch your head, Shooty. What happened with Ryan Cook today? It happened to Tony Sipp in Houston against the A's when the A's were there just a couple of weeks ago. He came into a close game. He walked 4, and all 4 scored.
It was unbelievable, and to watch him pitch and perform the way that he did 2 days ago was incredible.
And he comes back, yeah, and then you see him do what he did on Friday. 0-2 pitch, here it is, outside. But Tony Sipp, in 44 innings this year, he's only walked 14. So how do you explain that? How do you explain Ryan Cook in the top of the 9th inning?
We talked yesterday about how quickly things can change. Unbelievable. Cook has been so good in those situations this year, getting an opportunity and taking advantage of it.
Curve, strike 3 call. So Callaspo called out on strikes. Could have been a little high.
Well, that's what Sipp had working for him on Friday, both the fastball changeup and the backdoor curveball, if you will. It starts out in the zone, kind of freezes Callaspo. We have witnessed a couple of calls being called high in the zone in this game, so with 2 strikes, you just can't afford to take a pitch that close. Unfortunately for Callaspo, he's been sitting down all game long, and Sipp makes a real good pitch.
Josh Fields, a right-hander, is throwing in the Astros bullpen, and he has been throwing for a while. As Coco steps in, corner infielders in. The first pitch is a strike on the outside corner. Coco spins around in disagreement with the call. Coco is 3 for 4. Reddick's got a bat. A little bit low. He's still got Reddick on the bench. You got Moss on the bench. Foltz in the game. Dunn's pinch hit. Vogt is out. So I'm just thinking about the left-handed hitters. If Fields were to come in, but you also have to look at where you're at in the lineup.
Well, if you look at Sip, you can tell the kid has a tremendous amount of confidence. I mean, not running from Adam Dunn, knowing how far he can hit the ball. But when you know you have something else in your back pocket, not only a pretty good fastball, but you can elevate the ball up in the zone. And if you get stuck in a situation when you get backed into a corner, he can go to his breaking ball.
Ahead in the count here, 1-2. See if he uses the breaking ball again. And it's a fastball swing and a miss. Struck him out.
Location, location, location. Living and staying on the outside part of the plate. Coco Chris not known for being able to hit the ball opposite field out of the ballpark. Gets a pretty good hack at this fastball here, but that's an excellent executed pitch by Sip. Not much Coco could do with that, especially being in a survival mode at the plate.
So now Gentry will try to get aboard and get Donaldson an at bat. Gentry is 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. First pitch is a strike. Dominguez, the third baseman, playing even with the bag. Singleton, the first baseman, is in and over towards second base. Outfield, straightaway and deep in left and center, shallow and right. Now the count 1-1.
It's kind of surprising to see the right fielder still playing shallow. Normally, as a defense, you're in a no doubles type defensive scheme right now, because the one thing you don't want to do is let Gentry get back in scoring position with one swing. But they've been doing a pretty good job with the way that they've been aligning their outfield in this series.
This one foul back and a good fastball down around the knees. So Tony Sip is doing his thing in this series.
Well, he continues to pound the outside part of the plate, and where the right fielder is playing right now, Gentry is the perfect guy who, if he does hit the ball in the gap there, he probably won't stop until he gets to third base, because he definitely has triple speed when the ball is hit in the gap.
1-2. Sip is ready, so is Gentry, and here it is. Just a bit outside to even the count at 2-2. Donaldson waits, desperately wanting a chance to hit in this game. Missed again, and now full count. So Gentry is worked back to get it full. Again, Fields, the right-hander, is in the bullpen. Would he come in to face Donaldson? Here it is, and he just missed outside, and Gentry keeps the ball game going.
Well, you'll get your chance to see things if you'll get a chance to face Donaldson.
Very close pitch off the plate. No movement yet from the Astros dugout.
Give Gentry a lot of credit for having a quality at bat here. Sip has made no secret of how he's going to go about getting these right-handed hitters out. Staying on the edge and living on the edge. Normally that's a pitch that's very difficult to take, especially knowing that you're in survival mode. Great take by Gentry.
So Lawless coming out. He has not made the motion. Now he has. He points to Fields, who's coming in. So Sip could not get that final out. So the matchup will be Fields against Donaldson when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming in to pitch for Houston.
To walk-offs. He had this one on May 28th off Joe Nathan. That's a game winner. Remember, he walked off against the Orioles as well with a home run. So he's got 2 walk-off home runs this year. Now, doing it in September would be even better as he faces Josh Fields. Hard throwing right-hander, big strikeout guy. Gentry the tying run at first. First pitch. Strike down around the knees. Low strike called 96 miles an hour from Josh Fields.
Straight gas right there. But Josh Donaldson has a type of swing that can produce a dramatic swing. Get that foot down a little quicker. Get that bat head through the zone and let Fields provide all the power that's necessary in a situation like this.
0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 97 miles an hour, and it's a quick 0-2. Donaldson takes a little step back, deep breath. 1 for 3 with a single and an intentional walk.
Got to choke up and short now.
Adam Dunn is the on-deck hitter. Gentry with a little lean. Gentry takes off, and strike 3 called on the outside corner. And Josh Fields comes in. He throws 3 pitches, all strikes. He strikes out Donaldson, and the Houston Astros stun the Athletics this afternoon with 2 in the top of the 9th.
Well, fastball right down the middle with a little bit of swing back action. Typically a 0-2 count. Possibly the pitcher looked to waste something, but give Fields a lot of credit. He went right after Donaldson and made a quality pitch in an 0-2 count.
A very difficult loss for the Athletics this afternoon. The Astros come to Oakland. They take 2 out of 3 in the series. So the final score today from the HOU at OAK Coliseum, it's the Astros 4 and it's the Athletics 3. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody Brazil and Pip Roberts starts right now.